Hello, thank you for being here. For those that are returning to tune in, thank you for being here. And for new members, or just if you are passing by, welcome. In today's recording, I'm going to share about the embodiment cycle we are currently on. And when I say embodiment, it's not to say that the entire human experience is an embodied experience. Still, there are cycles and phases within cycles. So there are layers upon layers of transitions that we are going through, expansions that we are walking through. In today's recording, I'm going to focus how we are being the instruments of divine unity, how we are being used, if you will, participating in balancing the polarities, and how we are becoming more neutral, how we are embodying more of the neutrality that is necessary in order to birth unity consciousness and really anchor it upon this plane, the earth that we are all dwelling in. I usually would bring in this recording a cosmic perspective, meaning that I will speak to the bigger picture, and I will also bring it into the human perception. So translate it into how things are experienced in our human lives, the day-to-day lives that we are all walking. So we have been walking through quite an intense cycle of this divine embodiment. We are balancing polarities with various initiations. We are being invited to assimilate our structure and adjust our temple of light, which is our body, so that we can be instrument of unity, to hold that frequency. So we are really being used as conduits to hold a certain frequency and structural geometric pattern so that we participate in the anchoring of the dimensional reality and weave the platform of the new grid and divine creation. We are always participating in creation. We always walk in creation, and we are always being the anchorer, the frequency that we are holding helps in basically translates into the frequency and the reality that is able to be lived in this plane, Mother Earth. There is an amplifier element that has been facilitating purification of past timelines, ancestral bloodline imprints, and ways of being here that no longer are in resonance with our hearts and that which we have become. And when I say that, what I mean is that we have been creating here a lot through the masculine, the material. There has been a lot of density. This is something that we've been talking about. It's been in the conversation for a very long time. There is also presence of the water element. So I want to speak about the elements and how they really correlate, how they are connected to the transition we are walking through. So the water elements is connected to our emotional body. It assists in the assimilation of the emotional feminine essence of our being. And it reorganize. We're going through a reorganization to neutralize, to bring a neutralized configuration to the matrix. This is part of the integration we are walking through as we are balancing the polarities. The feminine and masculine aspect that have been in disharmony within creation for eons. We are dissolving the density that created hooks within the matrix, and we're bringing forth a neutralized platform so that we can reclaim our divine unity and light. So how do we do this? In our day-to-day life, the way that we are bringing neutrality is in the way which we are walking through experiences. To bring neutrality means that we are helping diffuse the density, diffuse the hooks, diffuse the heaviness and a certain frequency that has been held through time in various experiences. Meaning that the way in which we face the experience that comes up is the way in which we are shifting the paradigm. When all returns to neutrality, we have the capacity to bring forth a new paradigm. We cannot do so when the polarity is as it is in present configuration, since it creates resistance, it creates tension, and there is sort of a lack of movement. It freezes creation. Think about it in a manner of thinking about two poles that are pulling in different directions. It freezes the field. There is a resistance that is too great, and it holds the current pattern of creation, the current pattern we have created through, which is out of harmony. It's been out of harmony for a long time, and the polarities basically hold this pattern in place, and they need to be neutralized. Now, when neutrality is achieved, there is an opening, a doorway that brings forth a different configuration. It brings a different design, a different way of shaping things, shaping reality. Now, the original design that we are birthing forth to life here is rooted in unity and a deep sense of belonging to all that is in creation. Neutrality means that the polarities are in balance, and this translates as a coherent web of one. And this is in truth our organic design. This is the way we have been designed in our original form. Now, as we are purging density and recalibrate our structure, our human body, to greater harmony, as it holds greater balance within it, the subtle bodies integrate and merge into the physical human organism. That brings forth greater access to our multidimensional structure. Where we were fragmented in the past, linear context-wise, we are becoming more united within our own individualized design. The integration into the light body, which we are, it's part of what we are doing as we are expanding in consciousness. And the rearrangement of the physical body, it changes the polarity of the human structure. Where we traveled with greater polarity in the past linear timeline, where masculine essence had a greater voice, it had a physical, mental, material, has been of highest values in the context of what we have created in here. There is now an emerging balance that is being initiated, an emerging structure, if you will. Balance of the polarities will result in an integrated self, where our divine feminine and our divine masculine come into a state of coherence, if you will, where both are honored and fully accessed in their wisdom and in their light. Balance of polarity will also facilitate a dissolution of judgment, as we will return to remembering that we are a web of one, remembering that we are all sourced from the one light, that we are all interwoven. We are connected to each other, we are connected to the earth, and we are connected to the cosmos. Everything is creating a one web. The universe is in us. All that is travels through this human experience contains a purposeful journey that facilitates a divine expansion. Everything is divinely orchestrated. When we are in unity, when we are in a state of coherence within, when our polarities have come to this place of union within us, there is no judgment. There is no feeling that anything is in truth a challenge in this human experience. That we are simply a consciousness reshaping and expanding in a continuum through this human life, through our existence. And there is an intricate web of the one that we belong to. All is source, and as source, represented in various forms of consciousness, layers upon layer. It is all arranged to express and expand consciousness. Neutrality, as it creates a balance, will then eliminate, or to begin with, it will reduce the desire or need to create chaos. We cannot create in the vision when we are internally in unison, when there is balance of these polarities within us, when we are united within. We can only create in unity with all of life. Neutrality will also mean that the ego personality portion of the human organism will serve the heart as it was originally designed to, that it will cohere to the heart resonance and work in concert with the heart's mind, with also work in resonance with Gaia Sophia and in tune with the collective pulse. So there is one web that is interconnected in this cosmos. Our collective, which in the day-to-day passes through our individual experiences, has been traveling through a lot of fire. We've been transmuting, purging old imprints through past timelines. By that, we have been creating space. Just think about it. When we purge, when we empty our vessel, when we empty conceptual models that we've lived by and shaped reality by, we're opening ourselves, both individually and as collective humanity, to reform the structure we've held. So we are rebirthing a new way of relating to power and authority as we are doing that. And this is part of the rise of sovereign reign. This is part of the reclamation of our own authentic inherent power, which in our true design always has been our birthright. Through the fires and the transmutations, our physical bodies have been going through reorganization. And this is where I'm speaking really to the way that everything translates in our day-to-day. We have been merging with more of our light body. As we have transmuted density, there is more space that has been freed up in our organism for the light body to come through, for the crystalline structure to come online, and for our DNA to restructure into its original design as divine humans and temples of light. As we have been removing, releasing, letting go, purging the density, letting go of imprints and storylines, we have been making room for the light particles and the crystalline original strands and wavelength to assimilate within our structure. So in this current embodiment phase, we have also various energies that are working with us. We always have the energies, the cosmic energies that are working with us as we are moving, as we are expanding in consciousness, since everything is a web of one. So we've had solar flares, there are geomagnetic storms, planetary influences, and various portals that assist in integration. And this translates in the physical body as disturbances in our sleep pattern. As our light body integrates and various subtle layers assimilate, it translates in the physical bodies in ways that basically shifts its current patterns, meaning that the physical structure, as we are embodying more and more of our light and multidimensionality, it goes through changes that don't necessarily feel easy. And I'm sure that many of us have been feeling this, and sometimes it gets overwhelming. Sometimes we really feel the biggest part is fatigue for many. Now, part of the planetary influences that I just want to mention here for a moment is today Saturn actually turns direct, and it's been going retrograde for 5 months, and Pluto is going to join him and go direct in October the 3rd, which means there's going to be a lot of movement and possible insights that we have gained during their retrograde phase of Saturn and Pluto. Now, when we are transitioning, when we are moving through all these energies, when we are moving through these embodiment phases and cycles within the embodiment phases, we are changing speeds. We are beings of vibrational being. We are holding a frequency at any moment. So when we are merging more into our light body, the speeds are different. When we bring higher frequency through the subtle layers, parts of our structure into the physical body. The physical body is denser. It stands to reason. It stands on this plane through gravitational force, and it's the physical material. So it's always going to have a slower pace than the subtle layers. Now, most of us are aware of this, that the physical body is denser. It's the layer of us that has to catch up most of the times, as it is, as I said, denser, and it remains in this gravitational orbit that it needs to remain in. Otherwise, we are going to just, combust into the cosmos. We cannot be light, all light in here on this plane. So assimilation of our subtle layers and vibrational changes translate in the body in various ways and in different levels for individuals. Really, it depends on where you are in your expansion, which kind of codes of light there are embedded in your DNA, the lineage you carry within your cellular structure, and how you move through your day-to-day with the shifts. This is the biggest part, how you move through it. There is no hierarchy in here. There is no better way, or there is no better individual. There is really no hierarchy at all. But there is levels of how we are navigating what is presented to us in the energetic pattern that we're moving through. We can either resist the changes, which can be in unconscious manner, or we can be more active and we can become more consciously aware and assist the movement. So present moment to moment unfolding is a big portion of how we can allow the integration to be absorbed in more fluidity. Being present to the moment, taking care of our physical structure, really listening to our body and seeing what it needs at every moment, and without judgment. Meditation, being in nature, being in water, consciously with intentionality to allow the space for what is being tuned within us, resting when we need, and relinquishing judgment again around routine of our day. There is so much we are assimilating. You may feel the changes in appetite, you may desire to eat more or to completely fast, which can free up your energy that usually is taken to metabolize. It will free your life force for integration, basically, because everything is information. Movement has been also an important tool in these times. And sometimes we need more movement, sometimes walking, yoga, and sometimes we need more intense exercise to help them move the energies and allow them to flow in our body in the way that they need to. On the emotional layer, we are being initiated to face each moment with greater awareness. In all layers, actually, I would say, even in the mental layer, we are always being asked to live with greater awareness, with greater consciousness. We're called to our organic nature and our feminine light. We are called to surrender, to be gentle, allow our emotional body to express itself. By providing space for our emotions to communicate with us, we're able to heal whatever elements arise, to travel through the emotions without judgment, without avoidance. We can only integrate the emotional layer of our being when it has been given voice, when it has been honored for the wisdom and the light that it provides to us. In some, it may be anger that arises more so than in previous experiences. In others, sadness may arise, or anxiety. Overwhelming, arising emotions and intensity is been a part of the ways in which we are neutralizing the emotional layer. So it's not a comfortable phase in some ways. Sometimes we get blissful moments. To be clear, neutralizing also doesn't mean that there is any judgment or relinquishing any emotional experience or expression. Neutralizing means that we consciously choose to walk through the emotion in a way that is compassionate, in a way that is deeply aware of what we are creating moment to moment. By our way of walking, by our way of being, everything translates to a frequency that we are not just holding for ourselves, but we are holding for the collective, and we are creating for the entire of creation. When we move through any experience in awareness, we facilitate healing for ourselves, and we are working together to bring forth the collective wholeness. Experiences and events are present in our field, and we are always invited to face them with greater compassion, with kind awareness and allowance to feel, to choose to diffuse the density in our way of walking through it. This is how we collaborate to create a foundational change within our consciousness and the whole of humanity. We always have been the conduits of divine expansion. All the expansion, the ascension that has been talked about, it's always meant to be through our own structure. We're not simply in a phase that requires us to really move that expansion through our various bodies, and the physical body is really the one that gets a lot of it as well at this moment. The subtle layers usually don't have any issues with merging or with integration, as they are naturally that's their impulse. The physical body is uniting. Everything within us is uniting, so that we will bring forth the reflection of that unity in the external reality that we are shaping. The subtle layers of the human organism, the divine template and original blueprint signature and design, will blossom as the all construct and density is being released and transmuted. This phase that we're walking through is a deeply alchemical process, and it can be, as I said, overwhelming at times. And we are being initiated again and again because we are coming to a phase where we're closing the we are closing the decade. So think about it, we're in 2019, the end of the year nearly, and we are closing that decade, and we're really being prepared for what's to come. And we all know that 2020 and beyond is going to bring greater adjustment, greater dismantling of the old constructs, as we are birthing the new foundation and the structures that are more in harmonic resonance with divine creation. So understanding that we are the conduits of evolutionary process may give us the strength, the peace in time of need to rise above the moments of intensity, to rise above the challenges, to move through whatever confluence of energies are here present and streaming, and to understand that we are always being assisted also as instruments of the divine expansion. There is a lot of assistance that we are tuning to, that we can tune deeper into. And to always remember that how we travel through the challenges, how we travel to moment, becomes the health frequency we carry and reverberate into the matrix of all that is. We are weaving the expansion through our physical structure, and we anchor that which is traveled through us in neutrality into the web of the One. We are the instruments of the divine plan, and the way we travel through our experiences creates a vibration that is held in our temple of light. And through this alchemical process, we facilitate the expansion of our collective. We assist in the expansion of our Divine Mother, the Earth, Gaia Sophia, and the web, the one web of all creation. So may we remember our part in the divine plan and allow our temple of light to adjust, to attune to the harmonic resonance of divine form through the expansion we are walking through. May we continue to be custodians of divine light and sacred creation as we are all interweaving into the heart of the One. Thank you for all the work that you do, and thank you for being here.